Hey everybody, hope you had a good Christmas and thanks for joining us tonight. It's Q&A. Go ahead and unmute yourself, type in and go ahead and fire away.
I apologize. I made it so you couldn't unmute yourself. Go ahead, Robert, then Christina.
Hey, Greg.
Hey.
I have a client and a friend of mine who was in a bad car accident about 15 days ago.
Okay.
Her airbags deployed and her car was totaled, to give you a rough idea. In terms of physical stuff for her, she had one cut on her arm. But she is now complaining about fatigue in her arms, shoulders, and neck. And she's having her handwriting has changed slightly. Her mental clarity is down. She's sort of on an emotional roller coaster. She finds talking is tiring, body temperature fluctuations, and food doesn't taste good. For the last week, I've had her on black cumin internal, galbanum internal, tarragon internal. What else might we do for the whiplash?
First off, how old is she?
44.
Okay, so pretty young.
She did go into the hospital afterwards, had x-rays. They didn't find anything of issue.
So her handwriting's changing, her arms are fatigued. Did she get hit did she say from the side, from the back? She rear-ended somebody?
Someone hit her at a relatively high speed. She was stopped. It pushed her into the car in front of her.
Okay. So she had two
impacts.
Yeah. And this was 15 days ago.
Yes.
Well, you have her on the right stuff. I mean, at least the core things. I would say that she probably needs to put something like helichrysum or Roman chamomile, even German chamomile, yarrow, something that's going to be anti-inflammatory, pain relieving, and antispasmodic. So like the chamomiles, yarrow or milfoil, but like she could do it like in a body tonic and just like rub it on the neck and the shoulders. Like I'd kind of go all the way out to the sides and even a little bit on the front part of her chest. So she was driving, airbag deployed. She didn't get any abrasions on her face or anything like that. It's already been 2 weeks. We're past that.
Yeah, none of that. Just like I said, one small cut on her arm.
Okay. So the thing with the fatigue in the arms and the legs is the neck is compromised. And so the helichrysum and the yarrow, we got to like basically take the swelling down. And you know, the black cumin is helping from the inside, but we still got to work the
Side as well.
yeah.
There was a protocol you gave us several weeks ago for the sternocleidomastoid and the scalings with lantana.
Yeah, I would say like eventually we'll probably do some work like that on her, like with the lantana and everything, but the heaviness in the arms and the neck and the shoulders, that needs to get resolved soon.
Okay,
So I would say, like I said, the helichrysum, chamomiles, yarrows, things of that nature. Even frankincense could be good on there, although I'd probably do helichrysum as my first choice, or helichrysum or a chamomile.
Okay.
And then I would put her on yeah, that had to be high speed. Like that, like you said, it was high speed impact.
The person who hit her was relatively high speed. They were braking, but it was way
Yeah,
too
but
late.
still, they were going way too fast.
They didn't see the traffic stop ahead of them.
Yeah, 15 days. Yeah. So most likely that is like the swelling of the tissues and things are compromising blood supply and nerve flow to the area. So
Okay.
it could be that there is something compromised in the cervical vertebrae, but I would say it's probably more soft tissue, and it's just like when it gets swollen, it stops getting blood to an area, blood stops leaving, it just gets really super stagnant, and it starts making everything go to sleep. It's just
So, in addition to this, would there be any benefit to lymphatic work?
yeah, lymphatic work could be helpful. Um, Myrrh would be helpful just because of the pain, and it helps clean up the tissue. It's anti-inflammatory as well. I would also probably put her on um, those digestive enzymes that you use in between meals for soft tissue issues and injuries. Wobazyme. I
Okay.
like start off at like one between every meal, so she's going to do at least 3 or 4 a day, and then bump up to 2 twice a day.
Okay.
And you know, that should help take down some of the inflammation. I'd double up on the black cumin. Like you said, you're doing like about 3 drops.
She's doing 2 drops twice a day.
Um, Make it like 4 or 5 drops twice a day. Yeah. Like
Okay.
she just needs lots of anti-inflammatory kind of both internally and then topically. And
Okay.
then
So the helichrysum, Roman chamomile, or yarrows in a form of body tonic applied to the chest, neck, and shoulders.
yeah, especially
Uh,
the
okay. And then myrrh was internal or external?
I'm gonna say internal if she can handle it. Like she's already kind of doing 5 drops of the black cumin. If she could do a couple extra drops of myrrh, around the same time, that
Okay.
would be super helpful. Like I do that and then give me an update like in 72 hours after she's implemented that.
Okay.
Like there should be significant reduction in inflammation. Um,
Okay.
so with this kind of inflammation, like as the inflammation goes away, there is going to be muscle imbalances. Things got compromised, things got strained, things got contracted, muscles like sometimes just like turn off. And so, the first wave is going to be treating the inflammation. The second wave is starting to relax the muscles, but balance out the muscle imbalances, which valerian, spikenard, vetiver, myrrh, all of those are super good for that. And it will have to be topically, like, even applied a couple of times a day. Um, there is going to be some fatigue that sets in that's not just in her arms and legs. It probably won't be until about 4 or 6 weeks out, like probably more like 6 weeks. And Timolinolol and Ravinsara combined work really well for that. The blend adrenal support. It's It's those two with a little tiny bit of oregano and some basil. You could use that. You know, you could either blend thyme linalool and Ravensara together, or use the adrenal support. And
Yeah.
for her on that, I would say that might have to be internal as well.
Okay.
Yeah, like three drops. But I mean, I'd wait till the fatigue starts setting in. Like you got so many other things going on that it's almost like the injury. You know how we talk about the seasons, the spring, the summer, the fall, the winter.
Mm-hmm.
The injury will go through a phase like that. There's like kind of a spring, you know, version of the injury, and then it kind of is settled in and doing what it does. And then, you know, when it hits the autumn phase, it either starts getting better or it starts getting worse. It doesn't stay the same. Like you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, it's an injury that I'm managing. It either gets better or it starts going down a weirder rabbit hole. And so
Okay.
um
So really, we want to get, she's seeing me on Thursday for a session.
reduce the inflammation, like do the lymphatic work, be it energetic, or and the thing that you know we don't think about in something like this is even treating the skin in and around the area will stimulate lymphatic movement. And so you know the skin doesn't get necessarily traumatized, but because of the nature of the injury and everything, the lymph and the uh you know, circulation or blood movement, the skin's going to get congested in that area and depleted. And so myrrh topically can be very good for that. Spikenard can be good. I kind of like myrrh for that, or African bluegrass. And it's just going to clean up. It's basically like it rehabs the skin. You know, if the skin's really super depleted, normally we'd use something like parsley or helichrysum. You're already putting helichrysum on it, so it's get, or you know, some version of that, chamomile,
Mhm.
whatever. But the area of the skin will need to be rehabbed a little bit just to stimulate lymphatic movement. So myrrh in a body tonic, or African bluegrass in a body tonic. Like that's what I use. Like the worst place for your skin lymphatically is your feet. And so myrrh and African bluegrass is what I put on my feet to like keep that skin cleaned up. You know,
Okay.
parsley and you know spikenard and other things do things for the skin, but when you're needing to like rehab it, detoxify it, you know, get it like jump started, the myrrh works really good, and I actually find the African bluegrass works quite well.
So on
Um,
that part of it, you're saying apply
that would be
topically
on the neck and shoulders, chest,
as
upper
well as the
back.
feet.
Yeah. The feet, if she'll do it, but like I'm like this area, the skin's compromised. Like it's
Right.
because like the skin is going to stimulate lymphatic movement. The skin is going to stimulate blood purification in the liver, kidney, lung, spleen, gallbladder, but also the skin is also like an extension of the connective tissue or the fascia. And so cleaning up the skin in this particular area is going to help make me just think of something there. It's going to make the fascia stabilize a little bit faster. If for some reason the inflammation is not stabilizing in the neck, it needs to be, you know, the things that we talked about. But if that's not working very well, then the next phase would be putting lemongrass in a body tonic, like, you know, some sort of alcohol base on the neck and shoulder. Just because there's inflammation, but then there's inflammation in the connective tissue. And right now she has both, but if the connective tissue doesn't clean up, then you need to put the lemongrass on there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know she has some of these oils, so I'll double check with her. I don't think she has the ability to put it in a body tonic on her own at the moment. But Thursday I should be able to help her with that and get
Yeah.
started. So I'll let you know
Good.
after the weekend how
Okay.
it's going.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep
you
me
very much.
posted though. Like after she implements it, give it 72 hours and then let me know how she's doing.
I will do that. Her body reacts positively and well, and she really likes using essential oils.
Oh,
So
good.
I think this will be good.
Yeah. And just keep in mind, and I mean, you can tell her this or whatever, but there's going to have to be phases that we, you know, like certain phases that we treat as she goes through this.
She's
And
a
so,
healing professional as well.
oh,
So
okay. So she gets,
she gets it. She comes more from the physical therapy side of things.
okay.
So this is not foreign to her, but it's foreign in that she's not gone through it before.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you.
You know, keep in mind too, like it's usually more 4 or 5 months down the line. You're probably going to have to treat her for digestive issues.
I already asked her a couple
Yeah.
questions about digestion. She said her digestion's fine. The only thing is most stuff doesn't taste good. It
Okay.
doesn't taste bad, it just doesn't taste.
Right.
So I know something's coming, something's up, but it's not apparent because everything else is more urgent to the body.
Yeah. Like she's describing some pretty significant inflammation.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
And just a clarifying questions for the helichrysum yarrow chamomile, were you saying to put that on the arms, chest, neck area?
Yeah.
And then,
Always good to do like after an injury, especially where there's a lot of inflammation and swelling. Even if the swelling is not apparent, like to your sight, or you know, a lot of times you can touch it and kind of tell, but if it's just a simple strain, like putting something like marjoram or something like that would be fine. But when you have such a compromising injury where there was like movement and strain, you know, it's better to go. You're still wanting antispasmodics because you want the muscles to calm down, but there's a significant amount of inflammation, and so you want to calm down the spasms, but calm down the inflammation as well, because the inflammation is going to make the spasms worse. It's going to make it harder for that thing to let go, and it's going to wreak havoc in connective tissue. So by going through and treating it this way, it's not going to be the thing that fixes it, but it's a step. Like, you know, you go through and you unwind it, and then anytime there's significant inflammation, there's always going to be muscle imbalances. So then you got to look at the muscle imbalance. But, you know, like we talked about in the lymphatic 7, where we worked on the sternocleidomastoid, which Robert was referencing, you know, that's one of the muscles that when it's out, it really will compromise the nervous system. And so that she's got a change in the handwriting can mean that the neck and shoulder, you know, are compromised and there's a little bit hard coordination happening. But also what potentially could happen is a thing called dystonia in the sympathetic part of the nervous system, where it kind of throws off like how your body functions when it's being active, and it can throw off motor coordination a little bit. And that's one of the symptoms is the handwriting changes. And so we're wanting to monitor that. Like if you guys ever get like a serious injury, you think inflammation and then you think nervous system. Like, of course, if there's an open cut or bruise or something like that, you want to address that, but you want to reduce inflammation and then you want to stabilize the autonomic nervous system. So using things like lemongrass or like Robert was using tarragon, um, even inhaling marjoram, benzoin. In a pinch, I've even used neroli, petitgrain. All of these things have a balancing effect on the autonomic part of the nervous system. And so if there is some dystonia, the way that we would treat it is with anise. Just because anise balances out both sides of the nervous system, and an injury or trauma is a good way to knock the nervous system out of whack. I mean, just bottom line. So part of the inflammation in the neck is the nervous system took took a blow and is not functioning properly. And if parasympathetic activity is not functioning properly, then lymphatic movement is not happening. And when lymphatic movement's not happening, everything just starts clogging up, hard to reduce inflammation that way. So Robert's got all the good things like in place and we'll see how it goes. But goal is to reduce that inflammation as quickly as possible. Inflammation being there for long periods of time just causes more problems. So it's like the sooner you address it, the better. So anyway.
And then go ahead, Christina, then Channing.
Hey, Christina.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hey, hey.
Hey. So I have a quick question on coriander for heavy metal detox.
Mhm.
Besides the foot bath and salt bath, do you also take it internally or
Yeah.
can you take it
Yeah,
internally?
yeah. It would be internal. Yeah. Have them take like 2 or 3 drops in water daily for a while.
What's a while?
Well, I mean, it depends on how bad the exposure is, but I'd say at least 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's like a really bad exposure, um, it could even be several months. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all the question I
Okay.
have.
How are you doing? How's the cat bodega going?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm finished with my newsletter, so I'm just waiting for your little piece on coriander before
Oh
I
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I'll get that to you here shortly.
Okay, yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. I know you're very busy. But yeah, it's going good. So thank you so much.
Good, good, good.
Go ahead, Channing, and then we have a question in chat.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Sam.
Hey, hey.
I have a question. I was actually looking for my heliochrysum and I couldn't find it at all. So I got an IV today and I'm wondering what I could put in that area. It's a little, what do you call it?
Like
It's
sore or
a little sore, yeah. But I
is it
can't find my heliochrysum anywhere.
is it
What?
bruised at all or?
I think it's getting there, but it's still very fresh. It's right at the fold of my, the crease, the elbow crease.
Mhm.
Not the elbow
I
crease, but the
mean,
inside.
Roman chamomile, if you have it. You know what else works there? Like when the skin is not broken, and there you had an IV, so I wouldn't consider that. Like I'm talking about like a cut or something like that.
Mhm.
You could put hyssop there.
Oh, okay. I have plenty of that.
Yeah, yeah. Like just kind of bathe that area in hyssop, and it will take some of the pain out and some of the bruising.
Yeah, usually helichrysum works wonders after an IV.
Helichrysum is the A1 choice here, but
No, and
like
I can't
since you
find it.
can't
It's so
find it,
strange.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How's everything else going? Everything else is going good.
It is. It's going well. I have some things I have to, health-wise, I have to focus on this year is just addressing my eczema.
Mhm.
And I decided to do just a gut cleanse just to kind of reset the
Oh,
system.
nice. That's
Yeah.
always a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was pretty much the question I had today.
Okay. Well, good, good.
Happy new moon, or no, happy full moon.
Yeah, full moon tonight. Yeah.
Last full moon of the year.
And don't they call it like a Christmas moon? It's called
The cold moon.
cold moon. Yeah.
Feels true today.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm just writing another message. So the upcoming class you just posted, Translucent Imagination of the Heart. You posted in the class how it's a 3 brains upgrade. Could you talk about that?
What?
The Translucent Imagination of the Heart class.
Oh, the
That's
heart class.
Mhm.
Yeah, we thought we'd bring, the beginning of the year, like to do like a review class for most people. And so that's a good solid class out of all the chocolate classes. And we're gonna do kind of how we do with some of those classes where we do a little bit of a mystical approach, or this is gonna be mystical / 3 brain oriented. So all the same oils that are in your kit will be used, but the processes that we do are gonna be a bit different, and we're just gonna try rocking it from a different angle there, more of a mystical approach and integrating some three brain work into all of that. And so we'll be covering the same topics. We'll probably talk a little bit more in this version of the class, but yeah, should be interesting. I've been wanting to do a 3 brain version of that class for quite a while, so it's the time to do it. I don't know if we're going to do this for very many of the other chakras. We might not. I'm not sure. But the heart class is such a good one that I thought let's just knock that one out and at least get that one under our belt. So,
And go ahead, Channing.
hey, Miss Jenny.
I have a question on classes. This year in 2023, we focused a lot on brain work, I would
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
Like you wove a lot of brain work. I'm wondering what some of the themes for 2024 would be. Are you taking us deeper down the
We're
path? Or is there
going deeper into the 3 brain work, that's for sure.
Yay.
Yeah, like there's a lot of nuances that we still haven't covered, and then doing things to kind of pull different things together. And so, we've been exploring different things in like an isolated way, like the brain work, but we haven't integrated a lot of the brain work into other things. So one of the things I like to do is like visit everything and then start like pulling things together and integrating like approaches. And so that's going to be a bigger theme. Even the class that we're doing on the weekend, normally like we are going through and we'll do a segment, and like here we're going to be doing say we're doing materialization breath for like healing for other people, right? So you'll see like there's a list and a process, a list of oils and blends and things that you can use, and then a process that's a materialization blend but specific to healing other people, like so little processes that augment that with mm, the materialization breath being the centerpiece, but still what oils you use and the things you do a little bit before and after, they play a role. But an added like feature of this is down below, I'm referencing different classes, like maybe a segment out of a class or a few segments, or say even just the whole class that would augment whatever the process is. So if you're doing self-healing or self-psychological healing, there are some reference points from old classes. And if it's only one or two segments out of that, we're saying go to that class, do one, this segment, that segment. So we're kind of making the past classes and the things we're doing now like more interactive. So you can go back to it like a library and go, oh, I'm going to do, something out of the mystical foundation for healing as I go through and work my process for, achieving a goal in my life or something like that. And so even, doing some cord work and things like that, we're going to be integrating things with past classes. And so in a lot of the classes this next year, we're going to be doing a lot of that kind of interactive we'll be doing like an interaction with some past classes if you've taken the classes. If not, you don't have to reference it. It's not like it's going to be part of the current class, but like if you wanted to do little practices on your own to keep you from having to figure it out, it's basically been figured out for you so that you can kind of go like, okay, I'm trying to achieve this goal. There's 3 or 4 different things that I can pull from past classes, and I have this thing right here, and you can just kind of work your process. And so going a lot deeper on 3 brains, like we're just scratching the surface of 3 brain. And so the class, what's the one that's the Sphinx? What's it called?
The one coming up in January?
Yeah, the healing aspects of the Sphinx.
Healing mysteries of the
Healing
Sphinx.
mysteries of the Sphinx. Yeah, that's going to be setting a little bit of like a foundation for deeper work in the 3 brain area. Because it's a thing. People think of intuition as just being like a thing that you have or you don't have, but it's a process that we all have it. We just ignore it a lot. And once you really start going down the rabbit hole, especially for healing, especially psychological things, doing things in the workplace, breaking out of patterns in your family, or like a spiritual practice. Like there's mechanics there that if you just embrace those mechanics, like all those other things just kind of happen, because you could say a lot of our suffering is avoiding intuition. And avoiding intuition means stepping away from innovation, processing something quickly, making quicker decisions, and shifting over to intellect and going, well, this is what I always do. This is what I've done in the past. This is what other people say. Like, we get stuck in our head, we get stuck in intellect, and you could say working intuition, another way of saying that is healing. Because for even the body to heal, you have to be in an intuitive space. If you're in too much intellect, the term is psychosomatic. Like you actually resist the healing process. And so be it physical, psychological, spiritual, work, relationships, family stuff, going deeper into that 3 brains is, it's a game changer. We've visited a lot of things where, I kind of gave some explanation, but you can see as we go deeper into the 3 brain work, it will be easier for me to explain the things that we've done in the past because there will be reference. But there is a little bit of writing on the three brains, but it usually is something that's taught in inner practices. And people use different terminologies and things for it, but you don't see a lot of it written down. And if it's written down, it's written down in code. And so, yeah, we're just going to break the code,
Mhm.
That really strikes a chord, what you just
Yeah.
said. And I know you know what I mean, but
Yeah.
it's really interesting how
Yeah.
people spend, well, not in general, but more specifically, the people in my world, they go out of their way to hang on to old things.
Oh my God, they do. Like
And
in
it's,
anybody's world, they
it
do.
didn't hit me until you just said what you did. And that
Yeah.
was exactly what I
Yeah.
was dealing with, is trying to cut loose from that.
Like in the workplace, it just makes you dynamic. In the spiritual circles, it just even in the spiritual circles, people tend to like to accumulate information but not really apply information, and that's kind of why, like, how we do our practices here is like we're going to fire through a bunch of work so that we don't fall into that habit. But in groups or organizations that I was in before, that was definitely a habit. Is you learn something and then all of a sudden you get stuck in it, and you get stuck into the repetition. The mind kind of embraces something new for a little bit and then starts doing what it always does. And so there has to be a little bit more spontaneity to the approach, to not let the logical mind hook on. Like it's not that the logical mind is bad, it's just it's been calling the shots when you know say some mid-level person who doesn't have a great grasp of the business starts calling the shots. It'll run, it just won't run well, you know and at some point it blows up.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, yeah, I was referencing somebody in your world. you know
LOL.
yeah. So it if the logical mind is not checked by intuition, the things you're doing become an imitation of itself.
Mm.
Have you ever like watched a show like a sitcom or something, and like the first 3 or 4 seasons, they're amazing. Like, it's so funny or it's so dramatic or whatever. And then after about 5 seasons or so, it's it's good. It's just not the way that it was. And if you pay attention, they're imitating themselves. Like in those first 3 4 years, everything was spontaneous and they were trying to make it, and they were adjusting and adapting, and then they kind of made it a little bit, and then it just became like an imitation, going back to the old jokes and the old things that it did and the old little drama stories, and there's nothing new anymore. It's just kind of rehashing the things that it's already done. That's what the logical mind does. Like if it doesn't have the stimulation of intuition, it just becomes an imitation of what it knows. Like it doesn't really, you could say intuition breathes life into the structure or the repetition. And without it, yeah, you're living, but it's more of a life of reaction rather than choosing. Like you're not really being yourself, you could say. You're just being a byproduct of your environment, if that makes sense.
It's so simple to understand when you put it in those terms.
Yeah.
But I was just reflecting as you were talking, like just a year ago, this brain work seemed like it was just so hard. And now when the pieces start coming together, it feels like it's a little bit
Yeah,
more
it's
like attainable.
yeah, it's kind of like how we were talking about the whiplash. Like at first it's and then after a while you're like, it's hard, but I'm getting it. And then after a while you're like, you know what I really like about it? Like, you have
Yeah.
these like phases of things, and then you'll kind of cycle through, and then there'll be another push on something. But in the old days, I would have tried to teach it all at once. And that was always the downfall of it. Like too much information, it's too hard to process. It's too hard to present, it's too hard to process, it's too hard to receive. It's just too hard. It's too much. And so doing it little by little, you get to integrate a piece and then take a step, and then integrate a piece and take a step. And even when you look at when something's being taught, and it's very good, it's very genuine, it seems very simple, but when you start unfolding it, there's a lot to it. And a lot of times there's lots of little nuances that get overlooked that you just kind of don't see, because you're getting the big pieces, you're getting the things that are impacting you right here, right now. But some of those little nuanced pieces really have to be assimilated, because when you're coming from the place of logic, like intellect, it's all about a technique, right? Oh, I gotta what technique, what technique do I use to stimulate this, what technique do I do to stimulate that, or make this happen, or make that happen. And sometimes that works. Sometimes it actually, not only does it work, sometimes it works really well. But a deeper thing, it's a little slower, is developing an ability. And that's the equivalent of like, okay, got to eat my vegetables at night, or during the day, or eat my salad today, or whatever. And a little bit slower, because you don't produce like an immediate result like you would with a technique, but you develop this thing, like you said, at the beginning with the brain work and the three brain stuff seemed kind of hard, and it seemed like and now it's getting easier and easier, and you're having experiences where you're cognitively processing to a much higher degree than people around you, say at work, for example. I mean, it starts to happen. It happens with certain kinds of meditation, and it happens with the three brain work. And what starts to happen is, your brain starts processing things at a much higher rate, and doesn't necessarily mean that we're smarter. It just means we can process faster. So I guess in a way that means, intellect. But when the intuition comes in, it just makes it so that anything that like would normally trap you, or cage you in, or bind you some way, it's like you have the keys that you can just unwind it and walk away. You just walk out of situations. The best way I can describe it is, you just have the ability to evolve out of whatever happens. It reduces anxiety, because you almost start to have this like confidence, like if I make a bad decision, it's okay, I'll adjust, I'll adapt. Where when you're coming from intellect, like I gotta get the right answer, like I gotta get it, because there's really no adjusting and adapting. There's just consequences. And when you start working the intuition side, even the wrong choice you're able to evolve out of it. And sometimes the wrong choice makes you even smarter than you were before because you're actively engaging it and trying to overcome it. So it's not even that it's a bad thing anymore. It's just a thing. It's just like, oh, we're going to do it like this today. Oh, we're going to do it like this week. Well, we're going to do it like this project. Okay. Okay. It's just intuition is amazing. Yeah. Then if you look at even how we spiritually grow and evolve, it's not just that intuition comes in and helps us to connect with the soul. Intuition is what breaks down chaos and brings order. Can't do it with intellect. Can't. You can try. You can doctor it up. You can dress it up to make it look like something can be sustained. Like when we do that thing with observation, like, okay, observe your body awareness, put your awareness on your body, like some area where it's heavy or you have a glitch or you have a pain issue. Or so what you're doing is observing, and in that observance intuition is getting stimulated, and in that moment the energy body, your physiology, your emotions, your mind are starting to bring order to wherever you're putting your attention and awareness. And so after a while, it becomes an integrated habit. And at first you're looking at your body, but then it starts to do it outside of you. Like it just all your surroundings, it's outside of you. And that observation is how you break down the chaos. Sustained awareness. I mean, even Paramahansa Yogananda said, without that kind of awareness, it is impossible to experience the soul. It's just impossible. So then you're living a life of just lower nature drives, which is the school of hard knocks. Yeah. I could
No,
keep
thank
going.
you.
Yeah, I know.
No, thank you on that one.
I know, no joke, huh? And who
That
doesn't
was
want to be
great.
better at their job or better at healing or better, just even feeling better?
Or just a better human.
Yeah. Especially with the craziness of the world, to not get sucked into everything and just be able to plug along, being who you are, just happens to be alive at this time. But
That was really great, Greg, just to hear
me
everything you just
ramble.
said. No, it was really, what's the word? It was really deepening to hear things that we have been doing and then how you're kind of like laying that bridge into 2024 with classes. So that was really
Mm,
helpful for me to kind of connect those dots. So thank you for that.
yeah,
Have-
like I'm not just like going, like I'm following something that was given to me a long time ago. Like so I'm presenting it in a little bit different way, but what was given to me was not meant for like how it was presented was not for the masses. So I mean, even what we're doing now is not for the masses, but still to be able to present it to more people than just, a few people at a time.
So appreciate all of, just the work that you put together and the use of the oils too. I think that is just amazing. Like what if
I
we
gotta
were able to
say,
do it with oils?
the oils make it so much stronger. It makes it stronger yet gentler, both at the same time. Uh, I remember doing some of the work that we've done, and like in the class, it's just nice, it's soothing. I would get pretty sick when I would do some of these. I mean, not sick, like I just get like a healing crisis,
Mm.
because the oils make your body shift and balance things out much easier than just doing things with your breath or doing a little ceremony or whatever it is. It's so much more gentle with the oils.
Sam said it was okay for me to ask another question.
Sure, of course.
So, I have actually two questions. One is, I wake up in the morning with tears in my eyes, not emotion, just shedding tears. And then sometimes throughout the day, tears sort of run, and I wonder if it's allergies, and I wanted to ask you
But
about.
it's a little bit of allergies and it's a little bit of the liver. And so like the use of peppermint, like a couple drops, like in the morning or something. So peppermint, like cinnamon, is like a stimulant to all the body's processes, but the the liver is impacted a little bit more by um, peppermint. And so it will kind of make the liver step up its game a little bit and start functioning to a higher degree, more so than with cinnamon. And a lot of the tears and like the bugs, the little gummy stuff that ends up in your eyes, a lot of that is if you stimulate the liver, a lot of that will stop.
So do you suggest I take peppermint internally in the morning or just inhale it?
I would take it internally. Like I mean, inhaling it is good, but here I would probably take 2, 3 drops internally and do it in the morning just so you benefit from all the systems being jump started. But you want to refrain from doing peppermint, like say about 3 hours before you go to bed. Don't take peppermint.
Yeah, because it's so stimulating.
Well, it's stimulating, but it also relaxes the sphincter right above the stomach. And so then when you lay down, the stomach acid goes up the esophagus and it will give you a little bit of like GERD kind of
Mm.
stuff. And so during the day, you should be good. But like those last 2 or 3 hours, you want the peppermint to almost like kind of wear off a little bit before you go to bed. So I'd say like don't take any more peppermint after say 5 o'clock.
Okay. So I do it separately from the cinnamon, yes?
Yeah, you could separate them like maybe as little as like maybe 15 minutes. You could do the cinnamon like right when you get up and then do peppermint on, one of your late morning breaks or something. Or, put it in your water. Like put a few drops in your water and just sip your water all day.
Okay. I've been getting into the habit of steeping fresh mint leaves
Oh
in
yeah, there you go.
water.
Yeah. Just maybe add a drop or two of the peppermint to that and slam it.
Okay, it's gonna be very minty.
Yeah.
And if there aren't any requests, I'm wondering if we could do a practice tonight that kind of tunes into the full moon energies.
Oh, sure.
Unless you have something else planned for the
No,
class.
I usually kind of wait till we're doing something and then kind of spontaneously check.
And if it's okay
Or
with
choose.
everyone else.
Yeah.
Thank
Sounds
you
good.
Are there other
so much,
oils?
Greg.
Oh,
Oh, my pleasure. Good talking with you.
Are there other oils that are good for the liver?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Rosemary verbena, top notch. Helichrysum, top notch. Helichrysum is very good for the liver. Carrot seed. An all-star is Greenland moss. Even lemon can be very good for the liver. Goldenrod, which I think we have goldenrod on the site. It's not one I talk about very much, but it's very old school. Yeah, goldenrod. And we haven't probably sold a bottle of that in a year.
Yeah, I didn't even remember we had it.
I don't talk about it, so. Let's see what else. I mean, there's other things that are kind of like mediocre for the liver, but those are definitely the hits.
Are they taken internal?
Yeah, most times I would take them internal. Yeah.
Could you stick with one and probably be good to go?
Yeah, I mean, they all do kind of different things. Like rosemary verbena is a good like tonic oil to use for the liver. Greenland moss is when you want to do some really deep liver work. Carrot seed would be a good tonic herb for the liver. Lemon would be a very good tonic. Peppermint it's good in the beginning part of treating the liver, but it's not for like after you've been doing it for a while. Like you kind of use it and then you move on to something else. And it's not because it's not bad, but it's good for jump starting things and getting processes initiated. But there's other things that work better for the follow through. Like rosemary verbena, much better at doing work on the liver than long term than peppermint. If there's a complication with the gallbladder, peppermint like is very good for gallstones, but rosemary helps the rosemary verbena, I should say, makes the gallbladder function properly, like more appropriately. And so same with the liver. So like rosemary verbena is one of the ones that like I try to get the most premium rosemary verbena that we can. Just because of all the impact that it does on the liver, the sinuses, on stress, on the digestive tract. But it also is like when the body is feeling kind of chaotic and a little out of whack, rosemary verbena is the thing that kind of pulls it together. So like I don't get the cheap versions of rosemary verbena. I get the like the fanciest, most organic version that I can find of that. And so yeah, with rosemary verbena, like it is a bread and butter oil for a lot of things, but especially for liver related conditions. Yeah.
Like 2 to 3 drops, one,
Yeah,
two.
two to three, but like if there's like a crisis going on, like say you have like a lot of mucus and your system's very stress plagued, I do 2 or 3 drops 2 to 3 times a day. I mean, you could work it a little bit harder. You know, a lot of times we're talking in casual dosages, but when you're really needing to do stronger work, there's a handful of oils that you can bump up the dosage, and rosemary verbena is definitely one of them. Yeah. Yeah.
And go ahead, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
Hi, everybody. I came in late, so I didn't get to hear your whole first part, but whatever you and Channing were talking about there was incredibly interesting. And thank you for laying out some of that, because it's very exciting to be working with you and working with this group and knowing that together as a group, we're developing something.
Mm-hmm. And it all, like the 3 brain stuff also integrates into a bunch of different practices. Like it's not like an exclusive thing. It usually enhances things that you're already doing. So it's not like you're converting to something or doing something different. It usually means that you breathe life deeper into the things that you're already even doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree that those are the kind you talked about, it being sort of a subtle but ongoing process of
Yeah.
development. And that's certainly been my experience since beginning with you in August.
Yeah.
So I have a question tonight. I think that the Judy that's on the call too might be the same Judy that I'm going to be referencing, but I'm not positive of that. So if that's not Judy Julian, I apologize. The question is, we've been working for her husband now. There she is.
Mhm.
We've been working with her husband, Bob, who is dealing with a lot of health issues. He's early 80s. Mostly the issues are rooted in diabetes. And okay, and right now the thing we're working with and trying to help get him some relief from is he has um he has some very serious open wounds on his feet
Yeah,
that are not healing.
yeah.
There is blood flow to the area. They've done the work to make that happen. So there's blood flow, which is good, but it's just not healing. And last week, Judy, they were at the wound care and they saw the regular doctor too, who basically said, you've got to get your blood sugar under control and you've got to deal with it at that level. And so, because she said that the wounds aren't healing because of the problem with the blood and the diabetes. So I've started doing the pH protocol for diabetes specifically instead of I've been kind of attacking it from the symptom, like I've been like trying to heal the wounds, right? But I realized like that's not the way to go. So any insights that you might have for us about what we could be doing on any level?
Yeah, couple of things. Like, so when you see something not healing too well like that, we also always want to look at the autonomic part of the nervous system, which rest and repair or the parasympathetic activity. He probably, I mean, when I look at him, he looks like there's like an imbalance there. Like the sympathetic part is much more stimulated than parasympathetic, which means his body also doesn't go into like a deeper rest and repair, which is where wound healing would happen. And when sleeping, he's probably not hitting the anabolic state. And which is just another time for like the immune system, the muscles, the nerves, everything to reboot, reset. And so like I would say daily use of like lemongrass or anise. Marjoram could also work, and that can just be inhalation. If he wants to take a couple drops, that would accelerate the process. But if he doesn't, inhalation will still do the job.
Okay.
Like just like 25, 30 inhalations. Like if he can go more, but at least that. I would probably give him a few drops of myrrh internally as well. You might even do, I say that, but let's just say myrrh internally.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll have people like bathe the area, like even if it's just above the area, with like a myrrh body tonic, but I don't think that's going to help him. There's circulation, but it looks like his connective tissue is inflamed. And one of the best ways to treat that is some lemongrass in like witch hazel or aloe vera or even just alcohol, like a liniment, and rub it like from the knee down to, the ankle. And, it doesn't have to be on the wound, but, you can cover all that area kind of close to it. And that will probably feel soothing to him on the first application. But I would do it several times. The other thing that I would do, I mean, if you just did that would probably help. I mean, in this kind of situation, it's hard to gauge how well it's going to work or if it's going to work. You just have to start treating and then start going down the rabbit hole. And it sounds like that's what you guys are already doing. You're going down the rabbit hole. And so cleaning up the arms and legs sometimes I find can be very helpful here. And you can do it with energy, you can do it with oils, you can do it however you want, but I would do it at least 2 or 3 times a week. And oils that are green, like basil or tea tree or eucalyptus radiata or polybroct, sandalwood, um, that green healer, anything, and then just like rub it on his arms and legs, or at least dab it on the joints. If you're doing it with energy, lots of green, just lots of green.
Just
Like,
energizing like you do when you do the healing.
energize in, but sweep
Say,
it out, like sweep the arm, the joints, sweep the armpit, the elbow, the wrist, the palm, the hips, the knees, the ankles. And after you've done that, like the arms and legs, you could clean the basic up a little bit. But I mean, I would work really hard on the arms and legs and the basic. And that will stimulate the wound healing to a higher degree, because there's the issues that happen in the autonomic part of the nervous system, but by cleaning up the arms and legs, you're hitting a different part of the nervous system. And I suspect that that's a little bit of the issue, is both parts of the nervous system. So that somatic part, it's actually the peripheral nervous system, but still, like, unwinding that is going to accelerate his body's ability to heal.
okay.
Was he, like, through life, was he real mental?
Yeah, Judy, I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to unmute and talk about that. You're welcome to do that and just join in here. But he was an anesthesiologist
Oh
for
yeah, so okay, so yeah, he's a super mental dude. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
So do the basic. So do the arms, legs, the basic, and then the left side. Well, do both sides of his brain. Like,
Uh-huh.
when you get up on the brain, do it green and then electric violet, and just lots of cleansing. But after you've cleaned up the arms and legs and the basic, then go up to his brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
After arms and legs.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah,
It's
last
just-
week I started doing the green on his arms and legs, just based on what you do when you lead us in through our
Mhm.
heat. And you talk so much about the importance of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did he feel after you did that?
I know, Judy, do you have any update for us that you could chime in here? She and I haven't really talked for a few days.
Actually, we haven't seen the wound for several days, and we will go to wound care tomorrow. So I'll have more information after that.
How
But
how did he feel over the last couple of days after that green was done?
actually, I think a little bit more energy.
Okay.
And so it looks like it's some changes. And we'll find out more about the wounds themselves tomorrow. But he's
Yeah.
more present, more awake, more
Oh,
himself.
good.
And you're right, he's very mental.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you
I
so
mean, the
much.
mental part is not what caused it, but it's just, as I was looking at him, he just looked like a mental guy.
He is. He
Yeah.
is. Yeah. For 60 years, I've known him.
Right.
Thank you so much,
You're
Greg,
so
and Linda, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Greg, for the guidance
My
here.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Keep me posted though. Like, keep
Oh,
me
yeah.
posted. Like,
We will, and maybe you'll even get a chance to meet him when you're here.
oh, great.
But it's her house, Judy's house, and Bob's house that we're going to be at.
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah. So, thank you so much.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys. That, like, what about a
Yeah,
month
ditto.
away?
So for somebody using oils, would they just do inhalation on the brain? Like they did arms,
Yes.
legs, but
Yeah.
inhalation.
Inhalation on the brain. Yeah. Yeah. My apologies. Yeah.
And was it specific to him, the more left side?
No,
Or-
that's everybody. Yeah, that would be everybody. Yeah. Yeah, I cleaned two sides of my brain right before I jumped on the Zoom with you guys tonight. I mean, that's how important I think it is. Like, cleaning the basic, cleaning the brain, cleaning the spine. I always have my little projects, but we'll be going deeper into that, where it's sometimes doing the brain work can be very intense. There is a side of it that's very, very soothing. And I'd say when doing the parts for the three brain, you do this thing with the brain, the crown, and the jaws. And you do the jaws first. It's very, very, very soothing. You know, like sometimes it sounds weird, but there feels like there's tension in your head, like, or you know, like there's, like if you compare it to your body, it feels like you're a bit of a grip on your head, or there's like a tension in your head. Um, a lot of that is your jaws. Yeah, a lot of it's your jaws. The jaws will throw off how the brain works. The thing that I was using right before we jumped on the Zoom was I was using nerve help. And the reason is nerve help will help your body break out of the state, you know, like be it the state of pain or like a pain pattern, inflammation pattern, even a postural pattern. It helps to unwind that through the purification of the elements or elementals. And because of that, it can make like weird amounts of tension come out of the body. Like that is the international sign for tension leaving your jaw. Like for, I don't know why I started doing that, but it's like it comes out and you can feel the jaw comes down, and all of a sudden the brain doesn't feel as tight. And it's not really the brain, it's the head, but it takes some tension out that you weren't aware that's there, and it makes everything a little bit more chill, a little bit more relaxed. Just, you know, the tension is precursors to headaches and migraines, cognitive issues, repetitive thinking, you know, clenching your jaw, all that stuff.
And go ahead, Deborah.
Hey, Miss Deborah.
Um,
Oops, sorry. I was
Okay.
talking away and didn't realize that I was not unmuted. Hi.
Hey.
The jaws, that's a real spot for me because I'm such a grinder. And I worked really hard while I was in Sedona to release a lot there.
Mhm.
And
How did that go?
it was amazing. You know, I just had these incredible headaches, which sounds like, oh, why is that amazing? But it was just a sign for me that all of that was connected, just like what you're describing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jaws are a big source of headaches.
But I really don't have headaches. So that was just kind of the like things adjusting and letting go.
Mhm.
So and now and there's a couple of like things that I used to do with all of that tension that I've started to do again, so that I know that I'm getting tension back in my jaws. And I so you were just mentioning um, working a pattern. Is there a particular
Yeah, so
level?
for the jaws, you could do several things. Like and I would suggest like even rotating them out a little bit. But first thing with any time that there's bruxing or a tight jaw is I take magnesium. Like I don't know if you are. You take a bunch of supplements, it sounds like, so you probably already are. But you know, if there's a deficiency in magnesium, even taking it for a few days, it takes about 6 weeks for the serum levels to bump back up. And your body, you know, it needs magnesium for a lot of different processes. But one of the things that it does do is it helps the muscles to relax. So especially at night, the magnesium is helpful to help the muscles relax. So you see those products like Calm and stuff like that, where you take magnesium right before you go to bed. You know, that's the idea, is to try to stimulate muscles relaxing. And that's not going to fix it, but it can help. You know, so you know, some source of magnesium, I can't remember. I think it's like citrate and malleate. Thought there was an orotate too, but like the supplement that, I mean, we use a couple of different magnesium supplements, but I have one that's like 5 or 6 different kinds of magnesium. And it's not even a big dose, but it's
I probably need that. I've
yeah.
always, most of my life
Honestly,
been deficient in it.
I would say most people probably need it. Like, you know, you can still get it from your foods, but we just live in too, it's not even that it's stressful, it's we live in a time that's very overstimulating. And we need more magnesium than I think we did even 15, 20 years ago. I mean, I could be wrong, but it
Well,
just seems magnesium is, and then from there, like I use Nerve Help, but you could use marjoram, and a sleeper here could be wintergreen. But you have that King of Pain, right? I think you got that blend.
yes.
You use that and do your jaws, then your brain, and then your crown.
So I actually have it in a, with an, I think it's with an oil. So could I actually put some of the oil, like actually directly on the jaw?
Yeah, I mean, that would help. Yeah,
Okay,
but it's still going to be helpful to like inhale into the air.
sure.
Because part of the issue is the jaws do some things energetically that um you know, it affects the brain, it affects the mind, it affects the throat chakra, it affects the back throat chakra. It affects a lot. So even the jaw blends, you know, what do we call that? Jaw chakras.
Mhm.
Yeah, jaw chakras. You could use the jaw chakra blends.
I don't have that.
It was in one of the classes, like
Yeah.
the mystical approach to chakras, I think. And so but any of those choices, start working that with jaws, then brain, then crown, and then cycle back through again. Jaws, then brain, then crown, and then cycle through again. So if you do that a bunch, then maybe just take like a salt bath, or do a little bit of just like self-sweeping or something.
So I have found great relief. I've started, not often enough, but magnesium chloride bath. It's an essential salt that I've
Yeah,
bought.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like my whole body calms down
Yeah,
much
good for
more
you.
than a regular salt bath.
Yeah. Yeah, like the baths that we do, like I don't know that we've talked about this, but we do like regular salt. We do the magnesium flakes, you know,
That's what it is. Yep.
the magnesium flakes. And then we buy those big bottles of the colloidal minerals, you know, the fulvic minerals.
No, I have to note those.
I'll see if I can find some and show you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so we
I-
get the fulvic minerals, which is just like a broad spectrum mineral. And then we get ionized sulfur, and we put the ionized sulfur in there. And the ionized sulfur doesn't have the rotten egg smell. Just you don't really smell it. And oh man, it's like going to a hot springs. It's
That,
literally what it's like.
that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So just to add another piece to that, so like since the solstice,
Mhm.
like my the tremors in my body, I've been doing a lot of grounding, but they're just like off the charts. And then, so the
Hmm.
magnesium flakes has really helped. And then, and my body is just like really, so you explaining this is going to help the magnesium with relaxing the muscles makes so much sense, because I just feel like,
Yeah, I forget about your tremors.
yeah.
Let me
And
look something up real quick. I mean, keep talking, but I want to look something
yes,
up when you're talking.
so what happened to me that I've never experienced before was this morning I woke up and like my back heart area was excruciating. I was in so much pain, and I, I it just was bringing me to tears. I actually took some ibuprofen. It was so bad.
Because of pain or something emotional coming out?
I wasn't thinking anything emotional when I woke up. There may be
Okay.
some stuff
Nothing
working
was
out
on
in
your
my sleep.
mind. No weird dream.
I still don't remember dreams. I shut dreams down a long time ago. So they were always nightmares, not dreams. So
Okay. So I would say for the tremors, let's maybe have you try either rosemary, peppermint internally, and sage topically. Like you could do a mix and match, or you could just do one. But let's have you start trying to use some of that to calm down the tremors.
okay. So the sage topically, like make a tonic out of it and just rub it all
Yeah,
over.
yeah, or several drops just on your wrist and go like that. Call it
Oh,
good.
okay. I like
That's how I
that.
do my sage all the time. I usually just do it on my wrist.
Okay. And then
But the peppermint and the rosemary I would do internal.
okay, and alternate between them or just choose one?
I'd choose one. Like I try them both just to see if one works better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
But probably 3 drops at a time, and you could do it 2 or 3 times a day.
Okay. And then
Don't do the peppermint late at night just because of what it does to the
stimulates.
esophagus. Yeah, the esophagus and all that. But there's a sphincter that, like, if it opens up, the stomach acid goes up the esophagus. So just don't do it 3 hours before you lay to bed. Rosemary is fine, but don't do the peppermint 3 or 4 hours before bed.
Okay. I tend to do these things in the morning.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so I've been doing general sweeping on my body most of today. And then I'm constantly doing sweeping on my crown area, head, on my head.
Do it on
So,
your forehead. Do it on your forehead.
oh, I haven't done that. Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you sweep? Like start from the eyes and sweep up?
No, just go like this.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
When you do your baths, do your magnesium like you're doing. I think that's awesome. And but do sage baths.
Mix it in with the
Yeah.
magnesium.
Yeah, I know.
Great idea.
Like a good 15, 20 drops.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you be doing this as frequently as daily, or like
You could, like, if I mean, I don't do daily salt baths these days, but for probably 25 years I did. Like when I was doing healings all the time, every day I took a bath.
okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's always good for the energy body and everything, but I mean, for you soaking in that magnesium and then with the sage, that's going to be potentially a thing that calms down and soothes the nerves and definitely the muscles. And so, until those tremors come down, I would do it daily.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And your basic, clean your basic a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With
Inhale the sage on your basic.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. Wow, this is really good. Thank you.
Yeah. And then let me know how that goes. If it's not resolving it, let me know.
So like you might even do the cleaning of the basic a few times a day.
You could if you have time. Like for me and Samantha, we do like a thing every day, but if we're having either downtime or one of us is having a little bit of a harder time, we do it like morning and night.
Okay. So I've been having so are you seeing anything with my Ming Ming or is that all good? Because that's usually where I have
Your
issues.
your basic is a little bit um it's not that it's dirty. It almost looks like agitated, which the lower centers have a potential of getting agitated just at the drop of a hat. And so, I mean, I wouldn't read a lot into that.
Would it be my pain that's causing that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're in pain, then yes, that's
Yeah, I'm in a lot of pain,
yeah,
actually.
that's what I'm seeing. So what's hurting? Like where are you hurting?
It kind of keeps shifting. Like this morning, it was my back all across my shoulder blades, and then it
Oh,
really
the thing you
irritating
were
from
just
the
talking
center.
about.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
then I kind of cleared that up, and there's it moved to like my left lower back, but not real low, kind of starting to come up a little bit. And a couple of days ago, it was like the center of my back, and I think probably if the lower back was resolved, then I would start to feel it in other places in my body. But it's like I can barely walk sometimes. I have to sort of start off slowly, and then once it warms up, I get confident that it won't hurt more.
And are you using galbanum or myrrh at all?
No, this is crazy, but I was just in so much pain. I was panicked, and I just took the
Yeah. Yeah.
ibuprofen,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. No, I hear
my
you. Yeah.
I did some inhaling of tuberose because that's really
Oh,
really. And then
that's
I was
nice.
on to my task for the day. I had to leave the house and stuff.
Right. And so how are you doing at integrating all that work that you did with the myofascial release? Does that feel like this is still a part of
Yeah,
it, or
yes, it
yeah.
does. And I think it got aggravated by the intensity of the solstice. And now we're in a full moon. And I am just feeling wherever I go, I'll be sitting next to someone and I can just feel their energy. And so, you know, been doing
Okay.
trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's give you a little regimen for the next few days and just see if we can't calm down. I try to do like, let's do one or two things. Let's do a little bit more than one or two things. If that's
Okay.
And at least we can talk about it. And if you do even just a little piece of it, you don't necessarily have to do it. But so, I mean, I would like keep taking the ibuprofen, make yourself comfortable. Don't let yourself be in incredible crazy pain. There's no benefit of that. And so if the ibuprofen helps, do it. You might even want to do, like, if you're going to do over the counter things, Tylenol is a little bit more of a pain blocker.
Okay.
And so you might even want to mix it up going in between ibuprofen and Tylenol.
Okay.
Because like sometimes like when you got a really bad headache and you kind of reduce it all, but then there's still the leftover like hangover of the headache. You know what I mean? It's like it's not as triggered as it was before, but still there's like a pain that lingers there. Tylenol will knock that out. That's part of the reason why they mix it with other like opioids and things, is because it blocks pain, where ibuprofen's doing it through an anti-inflammatory effect. It's more complicated than that, but the Tylenol just doesn't let your brain feel it. And so, but setting that aside, galbanum or myrrh would be a good choice. right? Both will help to diminish the pain sensory information going to your brain. So either one. Galbanum you could wear on your wrist or take internally. Myrrh, I would say take internally. One that's a little bit of a sleeper in there, if you haven't, you want to experiment with, is Petitgrin. Petitgrin is especially when the pain is like in the joints. Petitgrin can be not just like achy joints, but like when you're like in pain and it's in joints. Petitgrin can be actually kind of helpful for that. So those are those three. But I would say with all the shifting go around, I think you have Lantana from a couple of the different classes.
Yes,
And
yes,
you have Palo Santo.
yes. I
Okay.
love Palo Santo.
And so this one's a big reach. You don't happen to have Tolu balsam, do you?
No,
I'll
Okay,
look and
have
see if it's in a class.
poplar balsam, but
right. We're gonna see if it was in one of the classes that you're in. So as we're
okay.
talking, Sam's looking it up.
Thank you,
If you
Sam.
don't, if you don't have that, just use like a nula or a hyssop or something that's going to be relaxing to the diaphragm. So, you know, you're doing all your things, but like maybe at the end of the day, inhale the lantana, then inhale the whatever you're going to use, a nula or hyssop. So the lantana's for the throat, the nula and the hyssops for the diaphragm, and the palo santo would be for the psoas. And let's see if calming down those three muscles will impact the nervous system more than the rest of your body, like more than any of the soft tissue, more than anything else. So if you can calm those three things down, a lot of times your nervous system will make a big shift. And remember, like a few weeks ago, we talked about using like vetiver or balance to kind of like ground you in the body. Um, it's not so much about grounding. Is it the valerian or vetiver gives you a homeostasis mechanism like a reboot, like they're restoratives. And so, I mean, I know I'm throwing a bunch of different things at you, but I'm not saying that you have to do them all, but I would start exploring some of these different pieces and see
Yeah.
what brings you relief in what's going on there.
I think that
Because the pain could be something coming out emotionally, right? We never want to rule that out. But most likely with all the soft tissue work that you had done, your body's shifting and changing. And you know, the stress and the tension, like you said, it's probably more like muscular than anything. You know, you had a bunch of work done. You know, I would be surprised if, you know, if it wasn't that. You know, anytime I've had a bunch of work done, like I can feel like how my body shift and weird things ache that don't usually ache. And, you know, I used to have that happen a lot with osteopathic stuff that would get done to me. Like the one spot would feel better, but other things would ache. And it's just like it's acclimating to the shift or the change in the body. So you just gotta like kind of soothe it while it's shifting and changing.
I do know that when the pain gets really bad, I will get edgy
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and then that will activate old memories, the
Yeah.
painful memories.
Yeah.
So I don't really, so I know where they're coming from and I can just let them pass, sort of like,
Mhm.
you know, when you're watching a thought and meditation,
Mhm.
but it's really uncomfortable to try and manage life when I, so this is really helpful. I feel like I'll be able to work through, probably use all of these at various times. So
Yeah, like I'm kind of like laying it all out for you so you can experiment.
yeah,
Like you don't necessarily have to go like, oh, I gotta follow all these things tomorrow. Like just start picking one and seeing what thing like brings you some relief.
okay.
That
Thank you
that's what
very
I would
much.
do, you know.
Yeah,
And even that king of pain, even a few drops on the wrist, if you're not doing the galbanum or something, that could be very helpful. Yeah.
so the King of Pain, you had mentioned it with releasing the jaw.
Mhm.
So that's also as one of these, not
Right. Yeah, something
okay.
to choose from. Yeah, something to choose from.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes what I'll do, like, so like here, I laid out like 4 or 5 choices. I dig around, I find the ones that I have that are handy or that I don't have to go throw in a bottle, and I lay them out and I start in, like, I'll pick one and I go, okay, jaws, brain, head. How did that make me feel? Okay, next. Jaws, brain, head. Ooh, that one made me feel better. Okay, but let's try one of the other ones. And I find the one that works for me in that time. Like, because technically they all will do something, but sometimes one or two of the oils work way better than something else. And it's not always going to be your go-to thing. It might be something different. Uh, so find one that works for you, and then work it, and just know that next week it might be a different oil, but
That-
right now, like, this is what's working. And so do a little like trial run of like what's going to bring me relief. The thing that I also say about the back heart thing is, if there is emotion coming out, work the spine. The deeper release, for emotions, especially lower emotions, actually comes out of the spine, not out of the body, not out of the chakras. You're letting something go from the spine. And usually you would, like, if the spine was really congested, you would feel it more in the solar plexus, but it can manifest as an issue between the shoulder blades. Like how I said the thing with the jaws, the brain, the crown, for the like lower emotions being transmuted, go solar plexus, back heart, and then spine, and then rotate it.
This makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. Sometimes clearing the spine is what makes the pain go away.
Yeah, because it gets so intense. I just
Yeah, I can hear it in
feel,
your voice.
yeah. I started just crying, and it's just like this doesn't feel like there's really anything but everything about the crying, if that makes sense.
So yeah, it sometimes it's not even about an incident, it's just about a feeling, or like an agitation that's like leaving the body. I mean, Samantha can verify this. And there's mornings where I walk up where I'm just flipping sad, and she'll go,
Yeah.
"What's wrong?" I was like, "No, nothing. Like, everything's fine." Like, but I feel this like weird sadness that is just there. And then like a day goes by and it passes, and couldn't tell you what it was about. Couldn't tell you in a million years. And
Sometimes it feels like I'm carrying the sadness of the environment around me.
it could be realizations. It could be old things coming out. I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Like how we think of psychology, we're not thinking of psychology in its like whole nature. We get pieces of it, but we don't get the whole thing. And so, a lot of what we call psychology is actually part of our physiology. And then it's things from the environment, like you said. And so, when we can figure it out, great. But sometimes it's just a dynamic that's happening that, you know, we may not ever understand, but we can know how to clear it,
Yep.
you know. And if that's all we figure out, hey, works for me.
Works for me too.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And don't forget, if you have Melissa, don't forget a little Melissa here and there. Like a little bit of Melissa always takes the edge off.
Okay. Thank
And-
you.
You're so welcome.
And then we have a question in chat. It's actually two questions. Are there oils that are good to heal inflammation in the intestines?
Yeah, yarrow and German chamomile would be my first go-to things. You could even do a little bit of helichrysum. But if there's a lot of inflammation, yarrow or German chamomile are my first two go-to things. Long term, things like turmeric, things like black cumin, even a little frankincense, all of those can be helpful as well. Ginger,
Application?
it would have to be internal.
How much internal?
Probably 2 to 3 drops in water daily.
And second question, I hurt my back getting up from the couch yesterday afternoon. It was a sharp but achy pain right in the center of the tailbone. I do not have any past injuries, but I did just come back from a 2-week trip with lots of hiking and dragging a suitcase around. The back is slowly feeling better, but are there any oils that would help it more? And they wanted to kind of specify the pain is slightly higher than the tailbone.
Is
Center of low back at hip level.
is the area hot? Like if you reach around and feel it, does it feel hot?
Oh, slightly.
Slightly. I mean, I'd go a little like blue healer on that, German chamomile, yarrow, helichrysum, any of those choices, even the nerve help. That could be a little bit of a strain. That could be a little bit of inflammation and you've irritated muscle slash nerve. And so those should calm it down. Pain relief, inflammatory would be another one. Pain relief, psychogenic, just because it has lots of anti-inflammatory oils in it as well. And then as it kind of calms down a little bit, switch over and start using vetiver topically over that area. Vetiver will keep the lymph moving, keep the circulation without generating heat. It will relax all those muscles. And if there's a little bit of an imbalance from a strain or a sprain or inflammation, it will help to correct the imbalance, the muscle imbalance. So I would do those.
Neat body tonic ointment.
I would do either in a body tonic ointment or even in lotion. Like just put several drops in your hand with a little bit of lotion and then rub it on the area. Since you were hiking so much, maybe do a foot soak or two. Something soothing, like vetiver or spikenard, helichrysum. You know, any of those same oils that I said for your back. 10, 12 drops in a little tub with a couple of handfuls of salt in there. If you have Epsom salt or those mineral flakes that Deborah was talking about, throw that in there and just let your feet soak. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
When I put myrrh on my feet, I can feel like there's a little bit of tension that leaves my body, but there's this feel of like I feel a little bit better than I did before. You know, it's almost like it elevates the mood a little bit, but it's doing that because the inflammation goes down, like everything gets a little more regulated, like the body feels a little better. And that's putting myrrh on the feet. Yeah. So Let's see, we do something for the moon. The moon oil. If you have moon or moon premium, let me see what else we could do there. I'm going to give you some other choices here. You give me just a sec. Vetiver, spikenard, acacia, even cedar, lemongrass, mugwort, fir balsam. I'll give you a minute to get that all together there. Okay, so we're going to do the spine right now, but we're going to do it in sections. So do the part of your spine that's in your neck. You're taking long, slow, deep breaths with your spine in your neck, the cervical vertebrae. Move your awareness to the area between your shoulder blades, the spine between the shoulder blades. Now, move your awareness to the mid back. And then your awareness is on the low back. And then just be still for a moment. Just let it all go. Now your awareness is on your whole spine. You're not inhaling right now. You're just paying attention to your spine. Just let go for a moment. Your awareness is on your spine again. And start taking long, slow, deep breaths. Inhale the oil you're using. Long, slow, deep breath. And then just be still. How's that feel? Same oil. You're inhaling. Your awareness is on your lungs. And then the liver, right hand side below the ribs. And then from your midline, 2 inches over, below the ribs, 2 inches over to the right. Long, slow, deep breaths. The kidneys. And then the spleen on the left-hand side below your ribs. Just be still. Your awareness is on your front solar plexus. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then pause and be still. Work that front solar plexus again. So below the ribs. And then move your awareness to the back heart. And just be still. Where do you feel it in your spine? Long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your spine. And then just pause and be still. Think of some situation around you right now that's active. Doesn't have to be good or bad, just something that you're dealing with right now. Think of the situation, take long, slow, deep breaths. And then pause and let go. And then again, feel it in your spine. Wherever you feel it in the spine, long, slow, deep breaths. Inhaling the oil into that area of your spine. Just pause and be still. So what we did was not just harmonizing with the full moon, but utilizing the moon for development of the heart and of the mind. So hope that treated you well. We're going to shift over to the prayer petitions for Astara. So join us if you can. It's a little 15-minute thing that we do, and we do a little act of service while we get a blessing ourselves. So if not, hopefully you can join us tomorrow night. Saturday is a free class. And if not, Happy New Year.